Okay, welcome folks back to another lesson. Today we are going to be looking at the division of decimals by a whole number. Okay, today's date is the right. Right. So let's have a look at a typical question. Just launch ourselves straight into an example. Example number 1. $52.5 divided by 3. Okay, so we have our decimal number here, dividing by a whole number. Now whenever you have a question that involves division, here we have decimal number by a whole number. We are going to use today the bus stop technique. But we need to know which number goes into which position. So we have the first number and the second number. So which number I'm going to go over here at the beginning? The 3. I call this the X effect. So the second number always goes first and the first number always goes second, because this is the number that we are dividing by. That always goes on the outside. Copy this number inside. Okay. So don't just think that we just drop the number straight down. We do not ever drop the number straight down. When we're changing from a format where it's written along the line into a bus stop technique, the number that we're dividing by, the second number always goes first, regarding whether it's small or it's big or it's decimal or whatever it is, it will always go first at the front. Now, the technique for dividing this decimal number, if you compare that to a normal division question, is as simple as copy up the decimal point or line up the decimal point. So that's what we do extra. So we need to line up the decimal point. So that's what we are doing. So those two decimal points are in a line. So let's complete this question now. So when we do a normal division question, we say how many 3's will fit into 5. So if you have 5 friends and you want to group them into 3's, then we can make one group of 3 and we will have 2 left over. Okay, so that's how we do our standard division questions using bus stop technique. The next question we ask ourselves is, we have 22, we need to divide 22 into groups of 3. So if you have 22 friends, you put them into groups of 3, how many groups of 3 will you make? And the answer is 7, because 3 lots of 7 is 21. You've got 22. You can't have 8 because you'll have more than what you have here. That'll give you 24. So 3 lots of 7 will give you 21, and you have one friend which is spare that gets carried on to the next number as a remainder. Decimal points have already been copied above. How many 3's now go into 15? So you have 15 friends, you group them into groups of 3. So you can make exactly 5 groups, because 3 times by 5 is 15. To be able to do the division question successfully, your knowledge of times tables has to be very good. So division questions rely on good times table knowledge. So how many 3's will fit into 15? Times table knowledge is 3 times by 5 is 15. How many 3's fit into 22? 22 is not in the 3 times table, but 21 is. 3 will go into 21 7 times because 3 times by 7 is 21. So that's that question done. That's it. That's how difficult, or should we say how easy, division of a decimal by a whole number is. It's just like doing a normal division question with the added part of you must line up the decimal points from the question to the answer, and that's the only extra part of knowledge that we need to, and skill that we need to have in order to complete this question successfully. Let's do one or two more examples. Okay. We have 0.552 divided by 3. Okay. So the number that we're dividing by, the second number, does it go as second or does it go first? It always goes first. This part here will always go at the front. The second number that we're dividing by goes front. The first number will have to go second. Okay. So we've settled the question. Now, the rule states we must line up the decimal point from the question into the answer. So there's the decimal point in the question over here. So we must now line it up, and I'll put a nice big fat juicy decimal point. At the moment, in my examples that you can see in the video, I've got a decimal point with a circle around it. That's just for emphasis, just to highlight to you in the video the end user that's what I'm talking about. But we can take that off. So don't get confused thinking they've got two decimal points, got a decimal point in a circle. That's just for me to highlight that's what I'm grabbing. So there's my decimal point. So here, that's just for emphasis, emphasizing, highlighting, look at this point, that one's gone over there. But in this example here, I'm going to take it off. So there's your normal decimal point over here. And there's your right decimal point over there. And everything is lined up vertically. So now let's do the question. So we say, how many groups of 3 can you make from 0? So, we have 0 friends. Can you make a group of 3? And the answer is no. What's at the end of no? An O. Okay, if your answer is no to the question, you put an O there. This number gets carried on, but there's no number here to carry on. So if you carry 0 into 5, it's still 0. Sorry, pardon me, it's still 5. Okay, so when you carry 0, so we go on to the next number now. We say how many 3's will go into 5. So you look at the 3 times table. 3 times by 1 is 3. 3 times by 2 is 6. We haven't got 6, so we can only get one group of. Okay, so 3 times by 1 is 3. We have 5, so we have a remainder of 2. The 2 gets on to the next number. So now the next question is, how many groups of 3 can I make from 25? 3 times table knowledge. Which 3 times table is closer to 25 or below it? It is 24. So 3 times by 8 is 24. Excellent, Amina. So put 8 in there. So we have 24, but they gave us 25. So we have a remainder of 1. Right. So how many 3's will go into 12? 3 times table again, knowledge. 3 times by a number is 12. 3 times by 4. Excellent. MashaAllah. Okay. So the question here is 0.552 divided by 3, and we get an answer of 0.184. Okay. Let's do another example. One last example, just make sure the camera's focused in the right place. Okay. We have 4.284 and we're going to divide it by 12. Okay, so the same thing goes again. Let's set up the bus stop. So we ask ourselves, which number goes first? The number that we're dividing by always goes first, or I always say second number goes first. And then the first number that we actually, this number here, will go second, in the second position. Second number goes at the front, first number goes at the back. Okay, now the rule states that we need to line up the decimal points. Oops, points. So we have decimal point here, and we're going to line it up. Big fat one over there. So straight up. Now the question becomes a normal division question. So we say how many 12s will go into 4. So how many 12s go into 4? 12 doesn't go into 4. If you have 4 friends and you put them into a group of 12, you can't make a group of 12. So the answer is no, can't do it. And in a no we have an O. So there's the O there. Now, as I said before, when the number will not divide into it, we have to get that whole number, and that whole number gets carried forward, everything. So the 4 becomes carried 4. Now the next question is, how many groups of 12 can I make from 42? So the answer is 3. And 12 lots of 3 will give you 36, but we've got 42, so that will give you a remainder of 6. So the next question is, how many 12s will go into 68? So your 12 times table, 12 times by? Okay, 12 times by 5 will give you 60. So the closest one to 68 is 60. So you can make 5 groups of 12, that'll give you 60, and that'll give you a remainder of 8. 8 left over. Next question, how many 12s, groups of 12, can you make from 84? So your 12 times table again, and that'll give you 7. Exactly. And that's the end of the question. That's the end of this session. Please look back at the first video, which contains the questions and the answers, for you to have a complete session on that. And thank you very much for joining us. Okay, assalamu alaikum. Okay.